what do we need to do to become more adaptive to climate change? How do we mitigate the damage of floods, droughts, and extreme weather? And how do we bridge the gap between, on the one hand, innovators in this field, and the other hand, end users? Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to this online BRIGAID conference on climate disaster resilience and innovation. It's an honor that you're watching and taking the time to connect with us. We have viewers from the Netherlands, Belgium, Spain, Germany, Israel, Romania, Albania, and Italy, and maybe many more. So welcome to you all. It's great that you're joining us for the coming 1.5 hours, maybe 5 minutes more. And I see you've been chatting as well, so that's really good. We have a Slido system set up. So if you go in your second browser to slido.com and use the code 15979, so 15979, I can see all your comments coming in, like Ger Pannenkoek. He's saying, well, is this the virtual coffee room we would like to use pre-corona times? I'm afraid so, Ger. This is, and you have to get your own coffee. That's the only thing we come up with right now. So send in your questions. It will be fun to answer them during this webinar. My name is Rens de Jong. I'm a journalist here in the Netherlands. And with me are two guests. The first is Piet-Hein Davenfeld. He's the chairman of the board of the Water Authority here in Delft. Good to see you, Piet-Hein. Thank you for joining us. And Professor Bas Jonkman, and he's the figurehead of the BRIGAID program. He's the scientific coordinator, and he's a professor at the Technical University here in Delft. Bas, welcome to you as well. You will be my sidekick of today, huh? So interrupting, etc., etc. Are you up for the job?
I will do it.
That's good. So can you explain to everybody what BRIGAID exactly does?
Well, what we wanted to do, we wanted to contribute to making Europe more disaster resilient through innovations. And well, to do that, to support those innovators, to, let's say, reach the end users, we developed technical tools to support them and to advance their innovation and to test it, business and marketing tools, because, you know, these innovators are often smart, technical people that have a great idea, have never thought about business. And we want to give them opportunity and platforms to show what they can do. So we really used a lot of living labs, Antwerp, Romania, floodproof Holland, to show all those innovations in practice.
So you did that for the past 4 years. What did you learn? What's the biggest insight?
Well, what I learned is that there are so many great ideas. We have attracted over 120 innovators. I'm a hydraulic engineer. I learned a lot about drought and fires and extreme weather and all the smart technologies that are there. And I also learned, you know, I'm an engineer myself. It's not only about those technical aspects, but also the business side of things, and interacting with the end users, the governments is very important.
Right. So, and did we solve the problem now of mitigating all these climate disasters?
And well, the bad news is, unfortunately, no, and I think it will only get worse and more. So we have the record drought here this year in the Netherlands. We have wildfires, so things we thought were happening in Southern Europe are now happening here. But I think that we made a contribution. We worked with those 120 innovators, had some really, let's say, good pilots and field sites. And we have tools that those 100 innovators, but also the next 1,000 and 10,000 can use.
So, because this has been a journey of 4 years, what do we need to do to build upon this success?
Well, I think is continue and use those ideas and methods from BRIGAID, and I'm very glad that this continuation in the form of BRIGAID Connect will be there. We will hear more about it. We need to involve the financial sector because we focus a lot on the technical side, but really to make that happen. And I think it's going to be a long run. 4 years was a nice start, but we need 10 years or more and decades to work on these issues.
Right. So, well, we're going to skip through this program, the two of us, with our guests. So I'm looking forward to that. And a lot of viewers are looking forward to that as well. we have hello from Portugal as well. So Portugal is joining us as well. I forgot to mention these guys, so good to see you. Pieter Davenfeld, you are, I will repeat that, you're the chairman of the board of the Water Authority in Delft. Not that many people actually really know what the Water Authority is in the Netherlands, because it's a pretty special government body, isn't it?
Yes, indeed, Rens. The regional water authorities, there are 21 in the Netherlands, are the oldest form of government in the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you know, the Netherlands, or literally lowlands, we are defined by our struggle against water.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, these water authorities were established. And they've got 4 key tasks.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, is basically maintaining that, ensuring that Dutch citizens have got dry feet. So clearly strong dikes and dunes.
Mm-hmm.
We also need to manage the water levels, ensuring that we pump away excess water. We want to ensure that the water quality is good, so that we've got a healthy and clean environment. And finally, in this area around Delft, we've got 1.2 million citizens, some 40,000 businesses. They produce a lot of wastewater,
Right, yeah.
and that wastewater needs to be purified.
So today we're talking about extreme water events. Could you elaborate on how that affects you?
Yeah, indeed, climate change, I would say that the water authorities are at the front line of climate change. Because we need to face extreme weather events.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be like last week in the Netherlands, extreme downpours, where basically the rainfall that normally falls throughout the month falls, so to speak, on Sunday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, as Bas was already alluding to, we are also experiencing the drought,
Mm-hmm.
which has a big impact on biodiversity, also economic impact. The last drought cost for hundreds of millions of damage to businesses. And finally, particularly if you are living in city centers, heat stress.
Right.
So all these items, are now at our forefront. And it means that we need to change our strategy.
Right.
Because water is clearly, a very valuable commodity.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, whereas I was saying originally we were pumping excess water as fast away as possible.
Getting it away.
We now need to ensure that the water that falls is absorbed by the soil.
Right.
And that the soil therefore acts as a kind of sponge.
Mm-hmm.
And if that isn't sufficient, then we need to store the water in reservoirs.
Right.
And only if we lack then sufficient storage capacity, then we need to
push
pump
it
it
out.
away to sea.
Right. So if I paraphrase this, you will have a complete other relation with water than you had in the centuries before this moment.
Yeah, indeed.
Oh wow! And how do you need innovation for that? Is that available? The sponge, or does Bas need to create that? How does that work?
Well, innovation is clearly very important to meet all these challenges, and there are certain innovations that you can only deal with at a large scale.
Mm-hmm.
But there are also innovations that basically ordinary citizens can contribute with. Because one of the issues that we've got here in the western part of the Netherlands is that basically it is only built-up area.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, it is very difficult for the soil to act as that sponge. And therefore, we are really promoting that ordinary citizens basically take out the tiles in their gardens and put back in green.
Mm-hmm.
Or that there are, green roofs.
Right.
And that is also the reason that we said we can't do this alone. It really requires cooperation between municipalities, the province, businesses, the greenhouse farmers.
Mm-hmm.
And we've built therefore also a platform to push that forward.
Right. So what are your thoughts on that, Bas?
Well, 2 thoughts. I think Delftland has many challenges. It's one of the most innovative water boards. They have this sand motor in front of the coast. Very innovative water retention areas. Those kind of things. And the fact that these conditions get more extreme, the drought and the extreme weather, makes it so interesting to collaborate with partners and regions where the conditions are already more extreme. South of Spain, extreme drought. What do they do there to solve it? Can be very interesting for the greenhouses in Delft.
Are you already connected? How is your Spanish? Is actually the question.
It's not that good.
Right?
Italian I can manage, but
so are there international European connections?
Yes, but clearly the main focus of the water boards is to focus on the water management issues in the Netherlands. clearly, the Netherlands have got a reputation in terms of water management, and therefore we are also looking at opportunities to basically pass that on. And what I actually like also is we are very good at keeping the water at bay, but we can also learn from other countries who've got already for many years experience with droughts, and that is a relatively new phenomenon in the Netherlands. And in that sense, cross-fertilization, is very useful.
Okay, so you're doing that already.
There is a program which is basically held at the national level, which is called the Blue Deal, and there we are looking at opportunities.
Right.
But as I said, the main focus in terms of water management is clearly
right here. So Bas already mentioned some innovations that you have at Delftland. You have like the sand motor for coastal defense.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate on that?
So clearly, as I said, we need to maintain our dunes. And I think the Dutch engineers have come up with a rather elegant solution. South of The Hague, we basically deposit a lot of sand. So there's an enormous sandy beach. And then the sea currents basically take that sand away and gradually deposit that again along the complete Dutch coastline.
Right.
We call that building with nature, which is much more efficient than basically building everywhere
with
pipelines.
caterpillars, etc.
Yeah, exactly,
Right.
exactly. So that is one example. Another one, if you allow me to mention, which I like, in this area we've got many greenhouse farmers, and clearly they need water for irrigation, and therefore you see always next to these greenhouses, you see these water basins, reservoirs. What we are now doing is if we see that there is this enormous downpour expected, then we contact these greenhouse farmers and ask them to lower the water level in their basins.
Oh, really?
So that, we are better prepared for the heavy downpour, and we can also use, part of their reservoir. And in that sense, it's very nice that you see cooperation between, let's say, government authorities and local businesses to put our shoulders behind the challenge.
So what does that say for you, Bas?
Well, it's a nice link that so BRIGAID is not only about technical, let's say, engineering measures, but also about informational innovations like apps that give this notice, and so on. And another important point is that this nature-based green aspect is very important. In our project, we try to attract especially innovations that bring this green potential, but I think also in the European new Green Deal, we need a lot of green measures, and if we can link that to the disaster resilience, that would be great.
Yeah. So one final question is, because this is all about innovation, how hard is it for you to choose the right innovation?
I think that, with innovation, you also need to accept that you need to try a lot of things and accept that not everything will be successful.
Yeah.
So I'm not too bothered about to cast the net wide and then see what basically survives. I think also the real challenge is what do we do afterwards?
Right.
Because after the innovation,
right.
Because I know the innovation is of course very sexy. If you can say I've come up with. But the real impact, of course, you only get if you can scale it up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And why is that so hard?
Why is that?
Because that's the $1 million question, I guess. Then.
That's a good question. I think there are multiple factors at play here. It can be a matter of finance. It can also be making sure that we really know what is basically on offer, and therefore platforms like BRIGAID play an important role to basically showcase innovations, so that then other parties can basically say, well, actually I've got this problem, let me go after this one.
Right, good. Well, that's a unique bridge that you built towards our pitches. So stay with us. We have some pitches coming up. And I see in the comments, everybody's joining from Poland, Albania, Portugal very much. Some people are saying, are complaining about the volume. I don't know if we've picked that up, but we are trying as hard as we can, and we're putting up the volume a little bit if you're okay with that. Okay, so during this program we have some pitches of BRIGAID innovators, and they will pitch their inventions, and after that we'll talk about that a little bit further. So we're going to go for the first BRIGAID member. You know, in many EU member states and in many EU countries, businesses are at risk of floods, but information about that is sometimes not that available and not that transparent. Well, our first pitcher jumped into that, HKV Services, and they built something that's called My Flood Risk. Let's have a look.
Hello, my name is Marit Zethoff and I'm a flood risk consultant working at the company HKV in the Netherlands. I'm presenting the innovation My Flood Risk, which is developed as part of the European Union's Horizon 2020 research program and the innovation program BRIGAID. My Flood Risk is the international version of the Dutch web application www.mijnoverstromingsrisicoprofiel.nl that has been developed by HKV Services. BRIGAID helped us with the social readiness, with a list of user wishes and to get a stage for more recognition of the app. The problem is that citizens in flood-prone areas cannot easily access information about the flood risk at their location. The solution is the app My Flood Risk that informs citizens about their exposure to flood risk. It answers the question, how high can the water rise in my neighborhoods? Can you stay on an upper dry floor in case of emergency? Or is leaving your home a better option? The app contains 3 flood maps for statistical return periods of 10-year, 100-year and 1,000-year. The water depth is presented in meters above mean street level and is to be regarded as an indication. This app recognizes your current location, but you can also enter a location name in the search bar. We invite all national, regional and local water authorities to actively support the app to increase citizens' flood awareness. The next innovation step is to present a real-time flood risk assessment for areas instead of possible scenarios. The real-time flood risk is based on real-time or forecasted weather events and water levels, conditional flood probabilities given a certain water level, and flood consequences. This innovation of HKV is called Continuous Insight and is being implemented in the Netherlands. Please contact us for more information.
Thank you very much, HKV Services. So, Piet Hein, is this something you don't have to buy it? But I'm curious. Is that triggering something?
It certainly triggers something. I think it's a very useful tool. Actually, you know, we are very much promoting discussions between water authorities and, for instance, municipalities to carry out stress tests.
Right.
And on the basis of the outcome of these stress tests to have risk dialogues so that you can really pinpoint where do you need to take measures with the highest priority. And there are several tools that I know of. This seems to fit excellently in the suite of tools.
Yeah, right. So Bas, you see this as well? You've already met them, I guess.
Yeah.
So what's so practical about this?
Well, I think particularly in, let's say, many parts of Europe, we all have to make European flood risk maps from the European Flood Directive. In the Netherlands, we have a lot of information already at hand, but in many parts, many countries, I think this is a great tool to use the information and make the flood risk maps that they often do not have yet.
Right.
So I did a project in Romania long ago, and then we were building this over a period of a year, these flood maps. And I think with this tool, it can go in a matter of days. So that's great.
Let's go for the second pitch, and we will go to Spain, and we will use these creatures. Because in drought-prone regions, ladies and gentlemen, these creatures, in drought-prone regions, when the sun is shining, of course, the collection of fresh water evaporates quickly. And you don't want that because you want to keep your fresh water. But how do we do that? How do we mitigate that scarcity, I guess, in the evaporation? There's a picture from BRIGAID, Evapo Control. Let's have a look.
Hello, My name is Javier Navarro. I'm one of the founding partners of Evapocontrol. We met Brigade something like 3.5 years ago when we didn't know what TRL was. They showed us the method of innovation which we followed, trying not to make too many mistakes, although we made quite a few, some of them very costly. But finally, it helped us to be in the actual stage where we are, which is commercial.
Evaporation is a major problem in semi-arid regions where water is scarce and agriculture rely on irrigation system. In the map, you can see regions where evaporation is higher than 1.2 cubic meter per square meter per year. Here we can see an example of a water reservoir and an aerial picture of an agricultural region, plenty of them. Only in Europe, evaporation losses in agricultural water reservoirs represent around 3 billion cubic meters, billion with B of Belgium. As an example, the aridest region in Europe, southeastern Spain and its river basin. Average losses of water in reservoirs are 1.4 cubic meters per square meter per year. This loss is equivalent to 20% of the urban needs. With Evapocontrol, we can reduce this evaporation up to 80%. Evapocontrol is the result of a complete rethinking of all modular floating systems, from production process to materials and design, looking for lower weight and lower production cost. In the draw, the different steps of the production of the modules. The production is done in a machine design ad hoc. Thanks to its design with 2 chambers, one of them ballast, we have 3 advantages: a correct positioning when deployed, and a spontaneous self-organization and wind resistance. In the following videos, you will see how the modules behave. Evapocontrol has been scientifically proven together with the Polytechnic University of Cartagena. The result has been 80% evaporation reduction. As sunlight is diminished, algae growth is controlled. Here you can see 2 ways of deployment. Here you can see a reservoir already covered with Evapocontrol. We are a team of 5 engineers with 25 years of experience in industrial, civil and hydraulic projects, as well as in the transformation of plastic for agriculture.
That was Evapocontrol. Wow, it's boss. Sometimes I think, well, this is such an easy solution. Why, but it doesn't. It's not an easy solution, I guess.
Well, there's a lot of invention and thinking behind it. And what is nice, and what I also heard from their team, is that Brigade helped them to develop their, let's say, marketing and economic aspects, the business aspects, with the tools that we gave. And what we also did in the project with these innovations and others, that we supported also financially field tests where they could improve their product.
Right.
And I think in Davenfeld, this is another record drought here in the Netherlands. We're going to need these type of things soon.
I don't know if you can have one, but is evaporation a problem in Delftland or not?
Today it's close to 30 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
So I know for sure that today we are pumping, 4 cubic meters per second into our system.
Wow.
Also to combat
the evaporation.
Evaporation.
Right. Yeah. Oh well, it's pretty nice. Okay, Evapocontrol. Then we are going to go for the next picture, because we all know that climate change leads to more extreme weather, and urban areas, they face all kinds of floods, heavy rainfalls. Behind was talking about that as well, and we have a decreased buffer capacity. Well, you can of course replace your drainage system, but that takes a lot of money and a lot of time. But you can do that in another way as well, and they do that with blue blocks. Let's have a look.
Hi, my name is Karina Peña. I am the CEO of the Dutch startup Field Factors. We have developed a solution to tackle heat and drought, and also too much rainwater in urban areas. making cities climate resilient. Blue Blocks is a circular system that enables rainwater storage and makes it available for reuse in the dry periods, for irrigation, to fill ponds, or for the children to play in the dry summer days. Blue Blocks is nature-based and adds to the spatial quality by adding green and improving biodiversity. With the help of BRIGAID, we were able to test our technology before implementing the first full-scale pilot in 2018. With the business development support, we drafted our business plan, which has had a big influence on our company growth. And also visibility. The showcase on the Climate Innovation Window brought us in contact with Adaptation in Belgium, with whom we are now collaborating to test our technology in Flanders. Flooding due to intense rainfall, as well as water shortage during long periods of drought, are the largest challenges we are facing, damaging our planet and costing us a lot of money. With the growing urban population, the freshwater availability is under pressure. At Field Factors, we have a solution. Blue Blocks is a nature-based system for rainwater storage and reuse in urban areas, making cities green, cooler, and climate resilient. So how does it work? With Blue Blocks, we collect and retain rainwater locally. With our biofilter, we ensure it achieves the right quality to be stored in the underground in the natural aquifers, from where it can be recovered for reuse. Field Factors is a passionate team of designers, engineers, and storytellers who are changing the way we deal with water in the city. With our unique products and services, we help our customers to implement circular water systems in urban development and retrofitting projects, from design to delivery and operation of our systems. We work together with municipalities, water utilities, project developers, and sport clubs, making cities greener, cooler, and climate resilient. Do you want to know more? Visit us at fieldfactors.com.
That was Field Factors with Blue Blocks. Peter, you know them, I guess.
Yes, this is one of our showcases, so
Yeah.
we're very proud because it also helps to fight heat stress. And what is of course very nice, this is very close to the football stadium of Sparta.
Yeah.
So the pitch is irrigated by the water that we store there.
Right.
We purify.
So the main question is, does this stay in a pilot or can you scale it up?
I think this is a good example that can be scaled up, and that is also the reason that we are working together with real estate investors to basically see when they make a big renovation of buildings. Can you redesign also the gardens, the green alongside?
Right.
How can you deal with the parking spaces? In the past, of course, this was only asphalt.
Yeah.
These are fantastic tools to do that in a very nice way.
I agree, and I think they are already scaling up, because this solution is now also taken from the Netherlands to Spain, to the stadium, and I probably pronounce it incorrectly, but Valladolid, where this solution will also be implemented. And the soccer competitions are restarting, so I think there can be many more areas around Europe where this will be of interest.
Let's hope for that. Peter and Davenfeld, thank you very much for joining us. Good luck today. Well, what's the next appointment for today?
The next appointment is preparing for a board meeting tomorrow.
Okay, and is that about drought and about extreme weather?
Actually, this is where water samples are being analyzed. And that is, for instance, also very important nowadays because we are trying to monitor the spread of COVID by looking also at wastewater and RNA science.
We wish you good luck with that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for
Thank
joining. As I already mentioned, that the BRIGAID program is funded by the European Commission, and because of this, we have reached out to Annalika Andrade. She's policy officer of the Director General Research and Innovation at the European Commission. Annalika, welcome to the show.
Hello. Hi, can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you well. Where are you joining us from?
I'm joining you from Brussels, where it's super hot. We have almost 30 degrees today.
In Delft, it's 30 degrees as well. Luckily, this studio has some good airco, so it's for us it's a livable standard.
I wish I was in Delft today.
Right. So would you elaborate? Would you introduce yourself and elaborate a little bit more in the connection between the European Commission and BRIGAID?
Sure. So, well, as you said, I'm Anneliek Andrade. I work in the Commission in the Directorate for Research and Innovation, and I look after the policy areas on climate adaptation. My relationship with Brigade, unfortunately, I didn't have the pleasure of following the whole project. I came across a project halfway into it, and I was very impressed. I think the kind of work we're doing now in the Commission more and more is we want to fund the scale up of solutions. We really want the output of our research project, the output of the funding we put out for researchers to find solutions. We want those solutions to make it to the market, and we want to scale them up. And you were mentioning this earlier with the example of the Spartan Stadium that now is being scaled up to Valladolid. Those are the kind of things we
That's
want
what we
to see.
need. Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we need, and that's what we're trying to work towards. And Brigade is a brilliant example how you start zooming into those little solutions across Europe and how to bring them together and replicate them, scale them up.
So can you tell me that the topic climate disaster resilience will remain on the research and innovation agenda for the European Commission?
Of course, it will remain. I think we are every day having more heat waves, more flooding. You know, as Europeans, we see our climate changing and having extreme events all over the place. So this needs to remain in our agenda. We need to find a way of being more resilient, of protecting Europeans, and coping with what's going to come our way. So I think this will be key in the agenda. We have the European Green Deal, which is the key green growth agenda we have for the Commission. And it's about cutting emissions, but also about being resilient, about coping, because we know that despite our best efforts to cut down our carbon footprint, we will have to have some sort of resilience, and we will have to adapt to a certain changes and extreme weather events.
So could you elaborate a little bit on specific calls for action in preparation, maybe?
Sure. We actually have a very exciting call that will be launched, I think, in September, and it's a Green Deal call. So we decided to allocate around 100 billion budget for a call for demonstrators, for like getting the solutions scale up and showing the benefit of all kinds of green technologies. And within this Green Deal call, we have some topics focused on resilience and climate adaptation, where we really want to see regions working together and increasing their resilience and actually developing actual solutions.
So, you know, Brigade has been working for 4 years on developing frameworks and practical tools and supporting innovation, et cetera, getting to the market, which is sometimes pretty hard for an innovator to get to that end customer. We have more than 120 SMEs in Europe working on this. What kind of instruments does the European Commission have to continue this flow of innovations after Brigade?
Sure. I think, at least in the Research and Innovation House, we focus a lot on the research, and we've forgotten a bit more of the getting to market part. But we're catching up with that. So we now have within what we call Horizon Europe, which is the Future Research and Innovation Program for the EU, we have what we call the European Innovation Council. And this is focused on solutions close to the market. And it's focused on giving funding really fast, because some of these startups need the funding quickly to demonstrate, to develop the prototype quickly and have a few pilots. So this is the kind of instruments we're working on, the European Innovation Council. We also work with the European Investment Fund. And the European Investment Fund is being more and more flexible and more risk-prone to give this kind of funding to startups, to companies that have these innovative ideas but are struggling to get to the market. Because as you said, this struggle to the market has to do a lot with the risk. There's a high risk. These kind of solutions have never been tested before. So as a bank, they're very cautious, but we're working with the bank, and as a commission, we're the guarantors for these risky innovations. So we're putting the money there and telling the bank, hey, you go help these guys out. And if it goes wrongly, and sometimes it will do, because this is the innovation business, the commission pays for that. But I think it's a risk worth taking.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us from Brussels. 30 degrees Brussels, and good luck with all your endeavors. Anneliek Andrade, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So this is interesting, Bas. We're going to zoom in to what BRIGAID has done over the past years and how we're trying to gap it between innovators and the markets. What's so hard about that, the gap? Could you elaborate a bit?
Well, this gap clearly exists. That often end users find it difficult because they don't trust or they don't know the technology. So we try to show the technical effectiveness. That's one pillar of a bridge we try to build. We try to improve the business aspects. That's the second pillar. And the third is we wanted to give, let's say, living labs, showcases, field sites where people can really see and feel and sometimes smell the technology. What is it like to really get acquainted and get interested?
Okay. Well, to tell us more about that, Rudolf Mol is here. He's the project manager of BRIGAID, works at the Technical University of Delft. Rudolf, could you tell me a bit more about how you as BRIGAID are supporting innovators and end users on the technical side?
Well, we're happy to do so.
Yeah.
First of all, we appreciate the enthusiasm where an innovator comes forward with a great idea, and we like to help him in his road from the first great idea to bringing it into operational practice. And in that route, there is an important step, is testing and demonstrating that what you have in mind really works. And not only in the view of the innovator, but in particular in the view
the end user
of the end user.
Yeah.
So there is a picture demonstrating the different stages. We are focusing on operational testing and supporting that. That is... we also developed, in this respect, a set of questions which helps him to make a self-assessment. How far am I in my innovation? That means he looks at the technical qualities. Is it effective? Is it reliable? Can you demonstrate that it's reliable? That's the first question of the end user. Then, is it flexible? Can you employ it in different circumstances or only in a specific case? And of course, is it maintainable? Technical questions. A very important second component is the societal acceptance of any innovation. In some cases, the public just doesn't like it. And well, you sometimes can easily identify what made a risk in that field. And you can eliminate that risk if you apply the so-called TIF self-assessment tool. That's our product. We are very proud on it.
But sorry to interrupt you, but what because this is a huge problem.
Yeah.
What kind of solutions the audience does not like that? What do you have examples of that?
Yes. If you come forward with a very high-tech innovation where the people that should protect, for instance, a temporary flood barrier in an area where the people don't believe that this will work, then they will just not accept it, and then it will not work as well. Right. But if they are participating in the development and in the training and the testing how to apply it, and they feel it's their own, then it will work.
Right. So it's important to test as well. You already mentioned that. Do you have examples of field tests?
Yes, we have close to Delft. We have a nice operational testing facility where different innovators can test in real circumstances.
You have a picture of that, I guess.
Yes, that's the one.
All right.
That's in
What do we see?
Holland.
What do we see?
We see testing of how a inflatable tube barrier can resist the water. So it's filled with water, so the water is available. And when the flood comes up, the tube barrier is filled, and it blocks the water from flowing further. This can be very easily and flexibly applied. This is tested in flood-proof Holland. And as we have a low-lying country in the Netherlands, we can test all kind of things which apply here. But if we would like to do tests elsewhere in Europe and also in circumstances different from the low-lying countries in the Netherlands, then we go to Romania, for instance. Where
we have a picture of that as well, huh?
Sure. There we had the opportunity to be present at the opening of the Floodproof Romania facility. And that is a facility where the water is coming from a reservoir with a hydraulic head of 15 meters. So that gives far more testing facilities.
And there's one person that's really very, very sure of
Yes.
his case, like I'm
Yes,
standing
that's
here.
the developer of the tube barrier. He is having one of his happy moments.
Right.
We have prepared also a video giving an overview of the.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a drone, isn't it?
It's a drone.
Let's
yeah.
show the clip of the drone, and you can talk over that video. Let's see.
Yes. Well, on the picture you saw the opening of the water coming in from the reservoir. In the drone flying over, you see how the facility is located in the landscape, and on the horizon you see the reservoir where the water is coming from, and which is providing the hydraulic head for these experiments that can be done during a static
Oh, yeah, there it is.
situation
Yeah,
and a
I see
dynamic pressure. Yeah.
So this is interesting. So this is a Dutch invention, and now going to Romania. Or is it not a Dutch
It's a
invention?
Dutch concept to have an operational facility, but this is typically a Romanian situation and a Romanian design that has been implemented.
Okay.
And I think we better ask Adrian Portonici to explain how this happened.
So Adrian Portonici is on the phone. He's a project manager with ENAR, which is the Romanian Waters National Administration. Adrian, welcome to the show. Hello, how are you doing? Yes, we are hearing you, but do you hear us? Yes, okay. I don't know. It's a little bit, the sound is not that loud, but hopefully that will work out. So, because I saw a picture of Delft with the inflatable tube barrier and yours in Romania. How does that differ? Mm-hmm. All right. I'm afraid there's no sound right now, so we're going to try to get that a little bit better or not. I'm just checking the technicians. No, I'm afraid it's not going to work. Okay. Adrian, thank you very much. Sorry, but the sound is not that good. But we love the video and your good work, because that's what's being done there in Romania. Boss, good work there.
Definitely, it was a huge accomplishment that this has been realized. It's not easy to make and to fund and to organize, and that's what we try to do in the project, to make these living lab test sites supported around Europe. And here you have an example where Dutch innovation was put in a Romanian basin.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we try to have this exchange. The Spanish solution against drought can be interesting for the Netherlands. So to really give this exchange possibility.
So Rudolf, final question. What did we learn from that exchange? Because and in bridging that gap.
I think that the experiences and within Europe are very complementary, and by focusing the expertise in cooperation, like in the BRIGAID project, that's definitely bringing forward Europe as a whole.
Yeah.
And so it's both inspiration, it's in cooperation, and it's in accelerating new ideas for implementation. So this definitely should be pursued without any doubt.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Stay with us, Rudolf. We're going to go for some new innovators. In these 4 years, we've seen lots of innovators, great examples of what innovation can do for climate disaster resilience. This is a great one because, climate change caused extreme weather events, and that becomes more frequent. So in places where it's warm, like in Albania, Southeast Europe, summer is very dry, causing wildfires, and we don't need wildfires. So it can be pretty unpredictable, and in urban areas, it can cause lots of damage as well. What do you do with that? Well, we have some solutions. It's called Greenfix and flood planting. Let's have a look.
My name is Nancy Lalai and I am the local project coordinator of BRIGAID, working for the National Territorial Planning Agency of Albania. National Territorial Planning Agency is an agency responsible for coordinating the process of drafting territorial planning. The agency works in a local and national level. Being part of the BRIGAID consortium for sure has its benefit, but not only for us, even for the innovators. We all benefit from supporting and expanding the research network, from connecting the researcher with developing ideas, and also from developing an active community of innovation based on a golden triangle created by public institutes, academics, and other parties. We have 14 Albanian innovators in climate innovation windows, and 2 of them have been supported by BRIGAID for the testing phase. We can confirm that we have managed to construct a good security pathing from prototype to end users. One of the innovations selected from the BRIGAID project is flood planting at Erzeni River, presented by Polish University in Tirana. Erzeni is an operational site with floods and erosion problems, so the scope of innovators was to find a solution to this case. The innovation presented by the research team of Polish University consists in the installation of 3 or 4 layers of coral logs at the bottom of the river, and then planting 3 floors of local vegetation. The aim of this innovation is to prevent flooding by planting techniques that are environmentally friendly. The technical readiness level of this innovation is 6. The innovation is tested in 3 river-based sites in Erzeni River. We would like to thank Polish University and their team of professors and students for carrying out an amazing work regarding this testing and also for joining the BRIGAID project. The second innovation, supported by BRIGAID for the testing phase, is Greenfix fire blankets, presented by Algeo System Company. This product is implemented in the Grand Park next to the artificial lake of Tirana, covering a recreation area for children and the newest constructed pedestrian and bicycle lanes. The problem of this site were the damage of casual fires, vegetation, and the construction and controlling erosion to the steep slopes. The innovators proposed covering the problematic areas with fire blankets to protect the area from casual fires or other extreme weather events, and also to help a healthier vegetation growth, and in terms of controlling the erosion. The technical readiness level of this innovation is 7. All the areas covered in the Grand Park of Tirana as an operational test site is now protected from external condition. We thank Algeo System and the team for continuously taking care of this implementation and for representing Albanian innovators in BRIGAID. Last but not least, thank you to BRIGAID Project and to BRIGAID leaders for joining us as partner to the BRIGAID Consortium, and thank you to all the innovators for joining BRIGAID Project and its call. It has been a truly fulfillment experience.
Yeah, it has been a truly fulfilling experience. Bas, what would you like to say about it?
Definitely. I think what the, let's say, Albanian case shows is that the project is not only about the solutions and innovations, which are very good, but also about building this network and community. And there, Nancy and her team have done a marvelous job in Albania, where there at that moment was not such a, let's say, a long tradition of having such a community of innovation, where she brought together smart technical people, the government, the Minister of Innovation and Economic Affairs came to open the market that we organized in the conference. So there, it's also about creating this network. And well, they've done a fantastic job.
Fantastic job. Okay, good to hear that. Next pitch is about, cities are always in development, of course, always in progress. But in that development phase, do we take risks into consideration? Well, sometimes we do, but not always. For instance, the risk of earthquakes. Well, that's the starting point for our next pitcher. They built a company that's called Delta Consideration. Let's have a look.
Hi, I'm André Schwarz, CEO of Delta Consideration and by profession urban designer, working on integrated urban development projects. The idea of Delta Consideration started in 2013, together with our partners of the Earthquake Damage Analysis Center of Bauhaus University Weimar and Seismotech. We analyzed the impacts of natural hazards on urban transformation. During this research, we developed and tested a transferable tool for urban risk analysis. Delta Consideration combines engineering methods and urban planning approach to support cities at risk towards resilient development. During the last year, BRIGAID helped me thinking of my ideas as a sustainable product. Cities are mankind's most valuable artifacts, and natural hazards threaten their sustainable development. Disasters occur as a result of lacking resilient capacities, and common approaches lead to recurring disasters. This means that change happens by disaster and not by design. Cities need comprehensive solutions to effectively reduce these disaster risks. By identifying and foreseeing the impacts of natural hazards, understanding the risk dynamics that derive from urban transformation processes, and designing a coherent resilience strategy. In a few words, for long-term sustainable development, cities need the capacity to change by design, not by disaster. Our mission therefore is more than reducing losses and increasing safety. Delta Consideration offers a three-phase module-based service to support cities at risk towards resilient development, pre- and post-disaster. Our main customers are cities in need of urban resilience, as well as international organizations operating in risk areas.
Yeah, that was Andrew Schwartz, and I have him on Skype right now. Andre, good to see you. Where are you calling from?
Actually, at the moment from the Baltic Sea.
All right.
Where I have a nice view on now.
Is it hot there? Because we are in like 30 degrees right now.
Yeah, it's the same. But it's nice and windy.
Okay. So you have a nice tagline, change by design, not by disaster. It sticks in my head, so that's good. So, but what do cities need to change?
This line actually means that they need a proactive strategy. So what kind of change do we want to create is the question. And to analyze this, we created a tool of Delta Consideration. We have to understand how does the change have to happen and where this will come from. What are the risks? So we analyzed a lot of a large variety of historical and recent reconstruction processes, because we think that disasters, they can lead to reconstruction, and this is also kind of window of opportunity in the sense, because we can better implement change. So analyzing these reconstruction processes, we saw that what cities need is to understand the risk dynamics. So what has changed before and after the disaster, and which vulnerabilities result from this change of the city before and after the disaster.
All right.
To use it to build a resilient strategy.
Okay. So how did BRIGAID help you? You talked about that a little bit in the video, but were you happy with that? Did they give you a leap forward? How did they go?
I was very happy because we had many very intensive workshops, and during the program we could go on from this research idea, to develop into more a market idea. How can it be implemented? What strategies need to be done now? What are the next steps to be done? Which networks have to be built? This was very helpful.
All right, good. Good to hear that, Andre, and good luck with Delta consideration from the Baltics. We wish you good luck there. We have some questions coming up. I have a question from Madhusudan Singh, and he says the following, and I don't know, Roelof or Bas, when we plan a nature-based solution or green infrastructure for disaster resilience, the major issue we face is the lack of evidence-based research for nature-based solutions. Is that something you hear?
Yeah, well,
quite
I think
often?
the answer is coming up soon, as we will have in our program, we have an interview with the city of Antwerp, and I know they have collected a lot of data there, so that could provide the evidence for nature-based solution on green cities, exactly what this questioner wants us to provide for.
All right. So, yeah, it's Bas.
Yeah, maybe to add, this is a well-known chicken and egg problem. You first want the proof before you go to buy something and build it or use it. But in our project, we try to stimulate these and also support these pilot sites.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you need a bit of a risk-taking attitude of a government that says, okay, you build this green roof or this green part of the river that we saw in Albania.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we have a number of nice examples.
Right. So, and the follow-up question is BRIGAID acknowledging that so more innovators can join for natural-based solutions and green infrastructure? I don't know if you can tell me something about that or not.
I think the network is expanding. We have this climate innovation window, which is basically our collection and shop window for innovators. We have the, let's say, tools to do their self-assessment on business and technical aspects. The project's formally ending, but our partners are enthusiastic and want to support them with their knowledge in the field side. So I would say you're always welcome to join.
Yeah, and know that the European Commission is trying to have some follow-up as well. All right, thank you very much, Roelof. Good to see you. Stay with us, but you can change when we have a video. Because talking about experience, and you already mentioned that, you were very proud of the Antwerp Living Laboratory. The city of Antwerp tried something like an intelligent green roof. Let's have a look.
Een groen dak is uiteraard een dak bedekt met planten. Niet alleen oogt het mooi, het biedt afkoeling en werkt als isolatie voor je gebouw. Door een waterreservoir en meetinstrumenten toe te voegen, kan je er een slim groen dak van maken. Bij regen kan het reservoir al het water opslaan en bij droogte kunnen de meetinstrumenten een signaal geven om het water weer te verspreiden. En bij extreme regenval, als er bijvoorbeeld een grote storm voorspeld wordt, kan een slim groen dak zijn reservoir al van tevoren leegmaken in de riolering om daarna de grote hoeveelheid neerslag op te vangen. Met verschillende slimme groene daken kan op die manier een overstroming voorkomen worden.
Klassiek groen dak is eigenlijk een spons dat water kan gaan vasthouden, maar één keer als die spons verzadigd is, wordt nog altijd het water doorgegeven naar de riolering. Het speciale aan dit groendak is de bijzondere opbouw in verschillende lagen en dat we ook de uitstroming van het groendak kunnen gaan controleren.
Sensoren meten hoeveel water er opgeslagen is en als er een fel onweer of intense regen wordt voorspeld, zal het intelligente systeem het water afvoeren, zodat het groendak een maximale hoeveelheid regen kan opvangen.
Door klimaatverandering verwachten we dat zomeronweders veel heviger zullen worden met meer wateroverlast tot gevolg. En door dan in te zetten op zo'n intelligente groene daken zouden we wateroverlast kunnen gaan vermijden.
Ook als het een hele tijd niet regent, biedt het nieuwe groendak voordelen. Want door het water dat wordt vastgehouden, kunnen de planten droge periodes beter overleven. En kunnen er zelfs meer verschillende planten groeien, die op hun beurt weer insecten en vogels aantrekken.
We verwachten dat als steden sterk zouden inzetten op dit soort intelligente groene daken, dat we minder wateroverlast gaan hebben en dat we meer verkoeling gaan krijgen in de stad.
Yes, from the city of Antwerp. And I'm going to talk to Nora Danko. She's coordinator eco projects in the city of Antwerp. Nora, welcome to the show.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. So because the film was in Dutch, and not all the viewers could see it, but luckily the results were in English, so that's okay. But what kind of impacts do you see of climate change to the city of Antwerp?
Yeah, so that we expect a little bit like the typical things that other cities will also face. We are expecting a temperature rise up to 7 degrees, wet winters with nearly 40% more rain than today or before, drier summers, and intense summer storms.
Mm-hmm. So, and is the local community and maybe also the policymakers and residents as well, are they really aware of those risks?
Well, if you would have asked me this question like 5 years ago, I would have said no. These days we are seeing more and more signs of awareness. Mm-hmm. For example, if we are now refurbishing a street, then citizens are coming and asking like, make sure that you will do something with rainwater. Right. Can you please do something that we can reuse it? Or for example, if they see that with the building construction, water is pumped up and it goes to the sewage, then they call the press to say that that's not okay. But also there are more and more initiatives. So it's not only people complaining and seeing it, but also more and more initiatives coming up where, people start doing stuff.
So we saw some pictures of the intelligent green roof, but could you tell a bit more about what the idea was?
Yeah, so the idea was we wanted to examine what would happen if we would construct green roofs that are keeping a lot of water on the roofs, but they are the roofs that are also like intelligent enough to look at the weather forecast, so that they can empty their own water system just before a big storm would come, so that they always have space to take up new storms.
Mm-hmm. So, and because this is an innovation, are you really trying as a city novel innovations to tackle climate change risk? Because what we already heard, sometimes it's not, it's a little bit chicken and the egg. It's not proven yet, but we have to do something. How does it work?
Yeah, so in Antwerp we have a city lab, and that really has the idea to host innovation and to like create a safe environment to allow innovators to try new things, and where you can fail. So we are really trying to open up opportunities for these kind of things, and BRIGAID was for us a very nice opportunity because we were allowed to host a project like this. We were allowed to come with a nice message to the to roof owners, like who wants to host an innovation like this. But also there were measurements done on that roof, because sometimes you have an innovator, but they don't have the money or the know-how to really test what they are doing.
Right. Yeah.
So that was a really nice mix. We had here.
So Nora, but the quintessential issue here is,
yes.
Are you able to scale up? Because such a project is really nice, but we want the whole city of Antwerp and Amsterdam and Delft and whatever with these intelligent roofs. Does that really work? And what's your vision on the future there?
I think that we have learned a lot of things. I think, I know. We know now that we could solve like 30% of storm water issues if we would plant the city full with these kind of roofs. But we also learned that it's not possible everywhere. And at some places, there are cheaper solutions to do. So that's very important. We are very happy with this. But we also learned that we are never allowed to just look at one measure. We always have to look like what is the best thing at a certain place and for a certain budget. So at some places this will be the best solution, and at some other places we can better just break out some concrete and do something on the ground.
All right. Well, thank you for all your stories and videos from Antwerp. It's truly inspiring. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay,
bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, let's talk about business, because this is interesting. And Marco Hartman is with us. He is the business director of the BRIGAID project. I already asked Nora, how do we get this to a bigger scale? And I wanted to talk with you about the question, what you have in innovation is sort of like the valley of death. So we have a great innovation, but then the trouble really starts sometimes. So how to prevent that? Because business models are sometimes difficult. Marketing, branding is sometimes really difficult. So how does a project like BRIGAID helps in that perspective? And what do they need?
Yeah, well, I think Roelof already explained earlier on the technical testing, and of course in the showcase in Antwerp, the University of Leuven was involved, so they did a lot of technical testing. But apart from the technical testing, you also need business development as well as marketing. Within a business development, within BRIGAID, we developed what we call a marketing analysis framework that helps innovators to set up a business strategy.
Right.
To find out, why is my product good? Where does it lack, or where can it still need some improvement? It also often asks nasty questions to innovators that they don't...
What's the nastiest question you ask?
Well, it was actually the Ecologic Institute. You will see one of the colleagues later of that story. I think one of the nasty questions, for example, is who are your competitors? Because often you think, okay, my idea is so brilliant, I don't have a competitor. And once I was also in one of these business trainings, and then they said, well, if you don't have a competitor, that can mean two things. Either you're brilliant, like Steve Jobs, or you have an idea nobody's really looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
But they all say I'm the Steve Jobs then.
No.
Oh, right.
No, most of them said, okay, probably I do have a competitor, and often maybe the competitor is in a different way of working, maybe not doing things, or maybe being used to the way things always work. And I think in Antwerp, a good example there, how to move forward with these innovations is the concept of the communities of innovations. So that you have an innovator, you have researchers, and you have also a city or an authority that's working together on one theme to mitigate the impact of climate change.
So what's your take on that, Bas?
I think this role of the government then is very important. They join the team and say, okay, let's take a gamble or risk, but I provide some space to do this, and also nasty questions like who are your clients? Well, many technical people like myself have, I have a good idea, but clients, how many are you going to sell, and what's the cost price? So I think, and many innovators told me, well, this really helped me on track to move forward. And as Marco said, we also help them with marketing by providing the platform and even pitch trainings. So.
And also for governments, it's also quite difficult to incorporate new innovations because well, they have their tender procedures, they have their rules and regulations, and also decision makers are risk averse. So you have to, you have to rely on a government or decision makers that also are eager to take the step with you.
Right.
And that can be done within a community of innovation.
Okay, but let me break some eggs for you. Isn't it true that a great innovation should sell itself?
Well, maybe that helps if you're Steve Jobs. So if you have an innovation that focuses on consumers, just like the general public, but in case your buyers are governments, I think you should work through such a concept of the community of innovation.
Right.
And what we have seen in Albania, in Spain is one of the good examples. And I think there, that you can work on an innovation, on a theme, without being too commercial at a certain stage. You can work together on one problem. I think that can really help.
So you've worked on many projects that we talked before. And what makes this Horizon 2020 project different than other projects that you've been working on?
Yeah, I think if you look at the Horizon 2020 project itself, I think it's basically two aspects. It's one is the setup of the whole consortium. If you look at it, there's mainly universities and SMEs. It's like Bas working here from the university here in Delft, and I'm working for an SME, HKV, and you see a lot of these combinations, a lot of universities working together with the SMEs. I think that's one of the stronger elements of this consortium, because you see universities are often focused on more research and publications. SMEs are more focusing on seeing what kind of innovation can I do, how can I get it to business.
Did you learn from each other? Is that a continuous dialogue, Bas?
Yeah, definitely. To me, we've been in many European research projects, so making large reports, but this is also an innovation project. So to do things on site, in the field, measure, learn it. It's for us inspiring. Okay, this is happening in practice, and we had many students involved who did the tests on temporary flood defenses with in all kinds of settings, putting trees against it and making ways to test how they hold. So I think for both sides it's been inspiring.
So Marco, in what extent do you think BRIGAID is really successful?
Well, I think the success is, of course, at the end, with the uptake of the innovation.
Yeah.
And of course, we have to be honest, of all these 120 innovations, not all of them became instantly successful. But of course, there are some good examples. I don't know if you've mentioned the one in Italy, on GRED, on that forecasts heavy thunderstorms, and now it's being installed upstream of Milan. We have seen the example of field factors in a pitch earlier, and that's now been taken off internationally as well. We have the example of evapor control from Spain. So you can see that some of these innovations, they're really taken off.
Yeah.
And of course, it's not only BRIGAID that did it. It's also the innovators themselves, of course, who did most of the work. But I think that's one of the biggest successes. And I think a second success is the fact that a number of the participants decided to move forward, in another initiative, BRIGAID Connect, because said, well, what we have done here, all the tools and the methods and the framework we have developed are so valuable. It would be a pity that after 4 years we throw it away and then we archive it.
Connected.
But keep connected. Indeed.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. Talking about innovators, let's have some final batch of innovators in the show. This is an interesting one. Well, they're all interesting, of course. But if there's a drought-prone region, how can you then reuse agro-industrial wastewater for irrigation activities? Somebody found out how to do that. We're going to go to Israel. Haliophyte zeolite wetlands. Let's see.
Hi, my name is Ezra, and I'm a researcher at the Galilee Research Institute in Israel. Salinity in irrigation water, or more specifically a high ratio of sodium to other ions, can cause long-term damage to soil fertility. Removal of sodium from irrigation water by desalination is costly and complicated. We used a tailored constructed wetland combining an active mineral matrix known as zeolite, which removes sodium from water, coupled with a halophyte plant that regenerates the zeolite. The combination of these two components makes the system sustainable and regenerable. When water containing sodium moves through the wetlands, it is replaced by calcium and magnesium, which are good for soil, and over time the soil is reset by the halophyte plant. This system is useful for anywhere that irrigation water is affected by salinity, such as at the outlet of agro-industrial effluent treatment facilities, before the effluent mixes with other water bodies.
Well, interesting, very professional presentation as well. So, is this really taking off? Do you know that?
In Israel, it's taking off, but also there, of course, the water quality issues, especially with salt water, and the availability of water is of course a major issue there.
Yeah.
If you talk about dryness.
Yeah.
But also in the Netherlands, again, we have a record drought here.
Yeah.
We still have a water system where we flush most of the fresh water towards the sea. I think we're now starting to think, okay, we need things in agriculture and greenhouses to reuse our water, and these type of solutions then can lead the way.
Yeah.
And what I also liked about this one, it shows you have to go to a deep technical level. So the Iggy Litauer and his team put on the chemical equations that I still remember a little bit from high school on the screen, but you need to go to that deep technical level to really understand what's going on and find a solution.
Yeah. So we have to send this one to Pieter Davenfeld as well, because he's going to need that in Delftland. All right. Well, we of course, we already talked about that. Climate change leads to more extreme weather, and urban areas experience more floods, heavy rainfalls, etc. So get rid of those sidewalk tiles in your garden. At the same time, that the water that's running off is often contaminated. So with heavy metals, with mineral oils, etc., etc. So we need a solution, and the solution is urban rain shell.
Hi, my name is Ger Pannenkoek, and I'm representing EWB Circular Rain. We are marketing an innovation called the Urban Rain Shell, a nature-based integrated underground stormwater harvesting and treatment system. BRIGAID supported us to further shape our business model and to realize a pilot project. Climate change not only causes heavy rainfall, damaging public and private infrastructure, it also causes longer periods of drought that put pressure on our sweet water resources, our agricultural production, nature, and our economy as a whole. Instead of temporary buffering and discharging stormwater as fast as possible to our rivers and our seas, with our urban rain shell we store and use this precious rainwater as much as possible. It is a patented system that stores stormwater in an underground bed of seashells, a renewable, lightweight natural material with 70% buffering capacity and an infiltration speed of 1300 meters per day. The system breaks down organic contamination and therefore doesn't clog and is easy and cheap to maintain. Using an innovative mix of recycled minerals, contaminations such as heavy metals and mineral oils are also removed. With the Urban Rain Shell, we make rainwater available for reuse. As an additional step, the patented fast high-volume infiltration system is used to recharge aquifers, where it remains available for longer periods of drought. EWB is a partnership between Aqua Aurora and Trazenova Sport. Aqua Aurora is a company with over 40 years of experience in ground, road and hydraulic engineering and water treatment. Trazenova Sport is a construction company that can install a system and assembles our mixtures for the water storage and treatment. With this team, we are available to support our clients with a tailor-made design, supply the required raw materials for buffering and treatment, and construct the system or provide construction supervision to ensure proper installation according to our principles. We want to thank BRIGAID and the European Commission for supporting us and hope to work with you to make every drop count. Thank you very much.
All right, that was Urban Rain Shell with Ger Pannenkoek, and we have Ger on the line right now. Are you there, Ger?
I am.
Ah, he's there. Ooh, he's the king of seashells, I see. Right.
Yeah, I hope to see them.
Yeah.
The first time I tried this actually, but I thought, okay, it's all about the seashells. So.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. It looks neat. So what do you need for a further uptake?
First of all, I need to switch off my my YouTube because
You can hear yourself, right?
Yeah, I hear myself repeating. So what we need for further uptake? Well, most importantly, we are still working on various pilots and research projects, which for us are crucial to collect the independent validation of independent researchers, which is very important for the uptake of our innovation by mainly public clients. So we have a lot of practical experience about how seashells and the minerals we use for water buffering and treatment. But it's very important to have this independent validation of this experience for the further uptake by the market.
So, but Ger, is the market really ready? Because I know municipalities a bit, and they are sometimes prone for innovation, but not that much for risk taking.
What you see more and more is that the drought is impacting the current situation. So we do see that more attention is now being drawn towards solutions that do not only focus on buffering rainwater as fast as possible and then discharging into the sea as fast as possible.
Yeah, we already talked about that. Yeah, right.
Also focusing on making sure that we keep available this water for longer periods of drought. But if we look at the market, how it is currently designed is that many of the investments are still focused, at least in the Netherlands, on getting rid of the water, because the budget is linked to mainly the sewage system in the Netherlands. And this does not speed up the uptake of innovations that are more integrated and also focus on reusing this water. So I think the funding and the financing of climate innovations has to be changed. If you really want to have the most sustainable, most integrated solutions that take a holistic approach towards this problem.
Right. Gerrit, thank you very much. And good luck with your endeavors with the seashells. It looks pretty good.
Thank you very much.
Let's talk about farmers, because they're confronted more and more with the consequences of climate change, water shortages, higher temperatures, shifting seasons, more extreme weather events. And that also poses a threat to crop and crop yields, of course. How can you improve? Well, maybe to get more real-time information. How do you get that? Well, Third Eye gives them that information. Let's have a look.
Hello. My name is Martijn de Klerk, representing Future Water, a company based in the Netherlands and Spain undertaking water and agricultural projects throughout the world. One of the initiatives we developed together with HighView is a service for farmers using flying sensors or drones. The service, called Third Eye, uses near-infrared, thermal and visual imagery from low-cost flying sensors to detect crop stress in farm fields. Thanks to BRIGAID, we have been able to further develop the service, more specifically by testing thermal cameras in Spain and setting up an operational service for smallholder farmers in Mozambique and Kenya. Here we are still serving thousands of farmers at this moment through a network of local operators. Right now we are working on integrating thermal cameras with the flying sensors to specifically detect water-related crop stress, and we are developing online portals through which all the flying sensor maps are made available. Most sub-Saharan farmers have limited resources and no access to farm data. Our low-cost flying sensors can provide valuable, high-resolution information on the status of the crops. Instead of relying on common sense management, farmers are now able to take decisions based on facts, resulting in an increase in water productivity. More crop per drop. Our business model pinpoints in setting up independent companies in African countries, as we did so far in Kenya and Mozambique. These companies employ local agronomists who are trained in using flying sensors. They go to the farmers' fields, conduct flights, analyze the images and use these to provide advice to farmers who pay them directly.
Yeah, and that was Third Eye. A great innovation there as well. So Bas, what connects all these innovations together, and how, for you, Marco, how do we get them to scale?
Well, what connects them is, I think they're all moving forward in developing on technical, on business aspects. And what I particularly like about this one, we are innovating in Europe and having exchange. But they clearly showed that there's much more potential, even more potential around the world to help and build innovative solutions there in Africa, and they're also working in Colombia. So I think that's great.
And Marco, what's interesting at the third eye pitch was about the business model as well.
Yeah.
So not only technical, but also thought about the business model.
Yeah.
Is that important in that scaling up phase to have thought about that?
Yes, it's very important. I mean, of course, at the beginning, you probably have a brilliant idea. And you think, how can I monitor these crops? You know, how can I see if the little water I have should go to this field or to that field? But once you know that's been done, you have to find out how can I set up a business strategy. And of course, these experts, they're partly based in Spain. They're not working from Mozambique full time. You know, they're not working and they're not based in Africa full time. So you need to have some local entities and local network to start up a business. So I think it's very good that what they did is to start these local entities that set up these companies, because it also brings them in close contact with the farmers there.
Yeah, it's almost a pity, or it's a pity that this BRIGAID program only lasts for 4 years, isn't it?
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
Because we came so far.
Yeah.
Bas, I feel.
Yeah, I have the same.
We celebrate this, but
I think we are not done, and we are all there, and the ideas and the network and the expertise is there, and that's why I'm also glad that this initiative of BRIGAID Connect has emerged to move forward.
Yeah, we should move forward because there's so much value there, but
so much work to do.
Yeah, there's so much work to do. Yeah, I see that as well. Well, you already talked about that BRIGAID Connect. Let's have a look what that means.
Climate is changing. Climate-related disasters are already impacting Europe from north to south, east to west. In 2016, these disasters caused more than 20 billion euros of damages across Europe, and these impacts will grow as our climate continues to change. This will place a huge burden on Europe's environment, society, and economy. We need to rethink our systems and find innovative ways to adapt to this new reality. We urgently need innovators who can not only generate great ideas, but who can bring them to life, increasing our safety, creating jobs, strengthening Europe's global competitiveness, and improving our quality of life along the way. This is why in 2016 we embarked on BRIGAID, a 4-year EU-funded project to accelerate the development of innovations in climate resilience. Our aim is to find and help innovators turn their climate adaptation ideas into real solutions. But we can't stop now. We now need to consolidate what BRIGAID achieved and turn it into a thriving Europe-wide ecosystem for climate adaptation innovations. Because if we want to create this new climate-resilient world, we need innovators to transform their ideas into innovations of real value to society. That is why we have evolved into BRIGAID Connect to keep supporting the innovators developing real solutions to help Europe adapt to climate change and natural disasters. BRIGAID Connect team of multidisciplinary experts validated innovator support tools and a Europe-wide network to provide a one-stop shop to help climate adaptation innovations to reach the market and improve our lives. At BRIGAID Connect, we provide concrete help to innovators by finding funding, experts, and test facilities to improve their new climate adaptation innovations. We are also providing business strategy training over web-based tools, and we're offering communication and marketing support to help innovators grow their business. And because we believe that networking and visibility are the key to sustainable impact, we host communities of innovation where diverse groups collaborate to turn climate adaptation problems into opportunities for positive change. It's time to make our societies more resilient. It's time to support our innovators. BRIGAID Connect, Innovation for Resilience.
Well, that's a great video. And let's connect with Gerardo Anzaldúa. He is a senior fellow in the fields of water and biodiversity at Ecologic Institute in Berlin. And there he is online. Gerardo, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you. It's good to have you on the show. So how do we prevent BRIGAID innovations end up sitting in drawers?
We certainly don't want that. We've seen that happening a lot in this kind of projects, and I think the members of the initiative BRIGAID Connect are really keen to keep that from happening. How do we do that? We have enough, as you already discussed very shortly. We have done enough in the past 4 years to really build upon that and to keep that going. There's really not a lot additional that we need to do. We have a large network that continues to grow. We have met very brilliant people that are also very well connected. So it's a matter of just keeping the motor running. And I think by using this network, by using the access to facilities that we have, we can really continue pushing ball forward.
All right, so what's your plan around that? So only keeping the connection or really giving them perspective? What's the idea?
So the idea with BRIGAID Connect is, I mean, you would think that after 4 years of working in this project, it would be really, we should have a very clear idea already, right?
Yeah.
It took us quite a while to really simmer through all the material, all the outputs that were generated in these 4 years and sort of come up with a very concise value proposition to move forward. And what we have is, of course, at the center of the offer are the innovators. We want to keep them connected. We want to continue developing their skills, and we want to give them access to help them with the access to funding and to facilities and to coaching. But further, we think that in order to do that, we need to continue operating. So we need to continue being active when it comes to working with regional governments, for example, with local municipalities that have also the need to roll out this innovation support programs. And we have now the knowledge and the experience to do that.
So Gerardo, talking about the local municipalities and policymakers and decision makers, what has been the feedback so far?
So far, the feedback has been really fantastic. We have, in the past, say, 8 months, more or less, really made noise about what we want to do and what we can do. We talk to people at the European level, we talk to people at the regional level, local authorities as well, banks, people from insurance, and so on. The feedback has been very positive.
Yeah, but has it been followed up by interests and orders and that kind of stuff? Because everybody's always like very fond of innovation, but now put your money where your mouth is.
Exactly, that's where I was going. Of course, it's very nice to give a presentation or talk about these things with the people who we want to reach out to and get positive feedback, get very nice sort of acknowledgements. But then when it comes to really, saying, okay, this is a very concrete opportunity that you guys can start working on, that hasn't happened. And of course, it hasn't been a long time yet, but we really want to let people know that we are doing this. So especially the people who have the funding. Of course, we cannot charge the innovators for these services. No. So we have to have a third party in there that is acting as a paying customer to basically keep the ball rolling. Right. And we're doing this or we are trying to facilitate this by keeping BRIGAID Connect very lean, very really bare bones operation, functioning mostly as a network that can then get engaged in projects.
All right. So what's your final main and ultimate message?
My final message is keep us in mind. Please make sure now that you know that BRIGAID will continue and that this 4 years of project will continue generating opportunities. Keep us there in the back of your heads. So whenever you see a potential opportunity for BRIGAID Connect to get engaged on, let us know. Brigade.eu is still there, and the website for BRIGAID Connect will come up shortly. Second, stay in our networks. As already Bas mentioned it before, this has really become a community, has become an active community. And so stay in the loop. If you're not a member organization with BRIGAID Connect, stay in the loop so we can continue to offer extended services. And lastly, be aware, be engaged, that change will continue to come. The 30 degrees that you guys are feeling will continue to raise probably, unfortunately. We need to do something about it.
Right. Gerardo, thank you very much from Berlin. It's good to have you on the show. And we have a question from Ger Pannenkoek. He's saying, is it possible to share contact details for participants of this conference to engage with each other? I don't know if that's GDPR proof, but everybody wants to connect with each other. I don't know how that works.
We will, within the
within the boundaries of the law, we will try to do that.
Connect the people, so let us know. We'll do our best.
If you have any specific people that you have in mind, please ask, and otherwise we try to connect everybody. So final thoughts, because we're going to round off. Marco, final thought.
Well, final thoughts. I think if you look at the 120 innovators that participated in BRIGAID, I think that has been a great success, and I'm really looking forward. And it also means that there is a need for that, for innovators to have a program to easily have access to, which they can be guided. So I really hope that BRIGAID Connect takes off and can continue that journey.
Yeah, let's all put our shoulders under that. Bas, final thoughts here.
Yeah, I think we're not done yet. The project is now ending today, but all the partners are passionate about it. So if you have interest and questions, well, get back to us and we will work with you. We have this EU Green Deal, in which the billions or more are being invested. It will also partially be needed for disaster resilience, those kind of things. And I hope that our strategy can then contribute. Mm-hmm. And if you allow me 30 seconds, I would like to thank a few people and organizations, of course, the European Commission for enabling this project, all the BRIGAID partners. It's been great. We had an advisory board that kept us on track, particularly Michiel van Haarsma Buma and Gerard van Buurt from Curaçao were fantastic. We also had an excellent BRIGAID team here at TU Delft, and especially Roelof Mol, who was really in charge of the project, and Marco and Sarah and Helma and Roelof all did a very good job in organizing this conference. And Rens, I think you really made a good show out of it. And I really want to thank all the viewers as well for their interest. So.
Thank you very much for sidekicking. That was lovely to have you on the show. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has already been said. Thank you for watching. Keep innovating, keep connecting. Hopefully, we'll see each other again. Stay safe, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye.